They sit you in a cold room, say you're free to leave, but the doors don't look like freedom, and the lights never grieve. They call it science, technique. Read is the name, but behind those mirror glass walls, it's just a mental game. So before you speak, understand what they seek. Confessions, not truth, and it ain't for the weak. I say again, confessions, not truth, and it ain't for the weak. Stay locked in.
The read technique consists of a three-phase process. The interviewer starts with a fact analysis, then goes into a behavior analysis, and after that, if appropriate, the interviewer goes on with Reed's 9 steps of interrogation. It is appropriate to go on with the 9 steps only if the first 2 phases show information that indicates that the subject is involved in the commission of the crime. The interrogation is an accusatory process, different from the usual question and answer format, being kind of a monologue made by the interviewer that tells the subject that the results of investigations clearly show he's guilty. In the whole interrogation process, the interviewer keeps a calm and understanding demeanor, with the goal of making the subject gradually more comfortable with telling the truth. This specific part is done by the investigator, who offers various psychological reasons that justify the subject's behavior. First of all, the interviewer lets the suspect know that investigations lead to him as a potential suspect, and asks him why the offense took place, giving him an early opportunity to confess. Then, the interviewer tries to shift the blame from the suspect to some other person or set of circumstances that made the suspect commit the crime, psychologically justifying his actions. While he does all of this, the interviewer tries to minimize the suspect's denials until the suspect gives a reason for why he did or didn't commit the crime, which the interviewer uses to move towards the acknowledgement of what the suspect did. He then uses body language techniques like eye contact or proximity to assure that the suspect is receptive, and when he's listening, the interviewer once again psychologically justifies his actions. If the suspect cries at this point, the interviewer can deduce that he might be feeling guilty for committing the crime. After that, the interviewer poses what's called the alternative question, which consists of giving 2 choices for what happened, one more socially acceptable than the other. At this point, the suspect is expected to choose one of them, usually the most socially acceptable one. But whichever he chooses, he's admitting his guilt. If he admits it, the interviewer leads the suspect to repeat the admission of guilt in front of witnesses and starts testing the validity of the confession. Lastly, the interviewer documents the suspect's admission or confession.
Yo, what's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal, man? We back for another episode, another edition of the Evolution of General Podcast, man. Stay tuned. We got a treat coming up. Let's get it. Let's get right into it, man. So today we're gonna be diving into interrogations, more so specifically read technique. What is a read technique, you may ask? Well, it was developed in 1947 by John E. Reed. It's a 9-step psychological process to elicit a confession in interrogation, right? It's structured to elicit a confession. That's the whole goal of the read techniques. It's not tell me what happened. It's I know you did it, and let's talk about why. It was built to extract a confession. Nothing, no more, no less. Nothing more, nothing less. All right, let's dive more into it. The psychology behind it, right? Tactic number 1 is isolation environment. Get you in these cold interrogation rooms, no phone, no clock, psychological breakdown, right? You feel like the walls are caving in on you. Leverages sense deprivation and builds stress anxiety build up. So they put you in these rooms looking to build your stress, looking to build your anxiety to elicit a confession, man. So stay mindful, stay locked in, and most importantly, get you a lawyer. Tactic number 2 is maximization and minimization. This looks really bad, threaten you a lengthy sentence. Or if you tell me now, hey, I can work with you. Get it all off your chest, man. You work with me, I can work with you. It's all a tactic to elicit a confession. Stay with me now. Stay with me. Stay locked in. Stay locked in. Tactic number 3. Probably the most used tactic. False evidence play. Cops are legally allowed to lie to you. Hey, your prints were on that gun. You fit the description.
Hey, now.
We got you on video.
More content like this coming up.
We got your shell cases, massive ballistics of your gun.
Podcast, man.
They are legally allowed to lie to you to elicit a confession. Stay mindful. Stay locked in. Statement 3. Why does it lead to false confessions? It's a real stat. 25% of DNA cases were exonerated for false confessions here in the United States. Why? Reed technique was implemented in all those interrogations. That's why. Giving you all the facts, man. It's giving you all the facts. Some of the parameters or diagraphics of Reed technique, right? Vulnerable targets, kids, people with disabilities, exhausted or traumatized subjects, people lacking proper education. So the more racial demographics, black and brown men are highly represented, disproportionately targeted, and coerced with the Reed technique to elicit a confession. So to all my black and brown brothers out here, man, know if you get yourself in a situation and you end up in an interrogation room, the whole goal is to elicit a confession. Stay with me now. Real world cases that we're going to dive into. Main one specifically that a lot of people should know about. I know I learned about it while at Ohio State. Very eye opening. And Trump even printed over 90,000 magazine ads to have the death penalty called back in for these men. We're going to take a look at Central Park 5. We're going to hear that story. And we're going to see how the Reed technique was improperly used to elicit a confession and convict brown and black Latino men here in America. New York to be exact. We're going to see it. Stay with me now. Next order of business, my people. Know your rights. You have the right to remain silent in interrogation. It is not a presumed guilt. No. You're not presumed guilty when you ask, or it's not a presumption of guilt when you ask for a lawyer. It's for proper representation for an interrogation, for something that's potentially trying to elicit, that's trying to elicit a confession and change the direction of your life. You have that right to remain silent. Don't forget to exercise it. Next, ask, am I allowed to leave? If not, am I being detained? And if so, what am I being detained for? Make sure you be clear and ask these questions. It's also part of your right. Never waive your right to an attorney during interrogation. That's the worst thing you can do. Never waive your right to an attorney. If you waive your right to an attorney, you're pretty much giving them the free reign to go ahead and implement all 9 steps of the Reed technique. And you're giving them a stronger chance of coercion or eliciting a confession out of you. So please, stay with me now. Stay with me now. Stay with me now. Stay locked in. Lastly, let's get right into it. The law is a system of persuasion. Psychology is a science of how we're persuaded. Understand both or you'll get played. Let me say it again. The law is a system of persuasion. Psychology is the science of how we're being persuaded. Understand both or get played. You hear me? Stay with me now. Stay with me. Now you know what I need you to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think. Let me know your takeaway from the video. Was it educational? Did you learn something? Does this better help you or better serve you in future situations? Can you pass this knowledge on to somebody? Each one teach one. Now that you know, the job that I'm giving to you is to pass this knowledge down to somebody. It could save somebody, man. Each one teach one. Don't never be the senior man with the secret. I learned this in the Navy. Shout out to the United States Navy right here, man. Shout out to the United States Navy. Learned this in the Navy. Never be the senior man with the secret. Train your relief so everybody can know what's going on. We don't need nobody falling victim to this vicious system no more. All right, now we got a bonus call for action for y'all. If you want more visual representation or more of a visual reference to what I'm referencing, visit innocenceproject.org or watch When They See Us on Netflix. And please be sure to stay tuned for more episodes breaking down the system, breaking down topics such like this one. And we'll keep building this thing going. We'll include all new information to keep you locked in, keep you educated, and keep you above the pivot and above your square at all times. Most importantly, live, love, laugh, cherish the people who cherish you, be a good person, don't put yourself in a situation. Education is powerful. Knowledge is the most powerful thing. It's KI again, man. We're checking in for another edition of the Evolution of the General podcast, man. It's been a real treat. Stay tuned for more. Stay locked in. I'm
into a frenzy. The media descended on the story like wolves. The Central Park jogger, they called her, the attack became a symbol, a flashpoint. And within hours, the NYPD was under immense pressure to deliver justice. Police had detained a group of about 30 teens who had been roaming Central Park that night. Some had been causing mischief, throwing rocks, starting fights, acting out. But none were involved in what happened to Trisha May Lee. Still, by the next morning, 5 boys, Kevin Richardson, Raymond Santana, Antron McCrae, Yusef Salam, and Corey Wise, were brought in for questioning. They were just teenagers, 14, 15, 16 years old. They were interrogated for hours, some for more than a day, without food, without sleep, without parents, without lawyers. Some were told others had already confessed. Some were promised they could go home if they just talked. They were manipulated, lied to, pressured. Eventually, each boy gave a statement. Their stories didn't match. The locations were off. The descriptions were vague, and they contradicted one another. But the police had what they wanted: confessions. Taped confessions. Emotional, stumbling, terrified words from boys who didn't understand what they were saying, or what they were giving up. There was no physical evidence tying them to the crime. The DNA found at the scene didn't match any of them. Hair samples didn't match, no fingerprints, no eyewitnesses. But in the court of public opinion, they were already guilty. The media coverage was relentless. Headlines screamed of wilding teens and a wolf pack. The boys were portrayed as remorseless, violent predators. Race became an unspoken but ever-present undercurrent. These were Black and Latino kids in a fearful, racially charged city. A real estate developer named Donald Trump spent $85,000 on full-page ads in 4 major New York newspapers calling for the reinstatement of the death penalty. He didn't mention the presumption of innocence or the absence of evidence. He called for blood. In 1990, the 5 boys went to trial. Despite the shaky confessions, despite the lack of physical evidence, despite all the inconsistencies, all 5 were convicted.